Okay, well, hello everyone, and welcome to the IWF program Passport. My name is Marla Letizia. Very happy to have all of you here. Seated in this room are my IWF sisters, and I thank you all so much for being here. I'm a relatively new member, and because of that, only 18 months now, I'm going to spend a little bit of this program talking about what I did before they met me 18 months ago so they can get to know me just a little bit better. And then we'll proceed with the actual program. What I want all of you to know, and I just mentioned this to all of you, is that this local chapter is very fortunate in that we have had 2 mayors and a current city councilwoman as part of our organization. And today, the current mayor in Las Vegas is still a member, and she has a greeting for all of you today.
Hello, I'm Mayor Shelley Berkeley, and I'm honored to be here with you today and to bring warm greetings to this wonderful gathering. For many years now, I've had the privilege of being part of this organization, a circle of committed, inspiring women whose dedication to each other and to our community makes me so very proud. About 10 years ago, I was welcomed into the IWF through the sponsorship of 2 remarkable women. I'd like to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to my sponsors. And now I invite each of you, whether you are here in person or joining us from across the world, today let us reaffirm our commitment to one another and paying it forward. Let us celebrate the sponsors who believed in us, and let us also commit to being sponsors for the next generation of women so that their voices rise, their leadership grows, and their impact deepens. Together, we build not only better lives for ourselves, but a stronger city for all who call Las Vegas home. Here's to our sponsors, to our sisters, and to the work ahead. Thank you.
Wonderful. You can clap. And so I thought I would take this opportunity to thank my 2 sponsors, Fafi Moore and Tanya Murray. I thank you both so much. I have loved being here with this organization. I never expected it, thought of it, even knew what it was. And I especially, Fafi, want to thank you because you've given me 2 gifts. Not only this, by sponsoring me along with Tanya, but you know what the other gift is. She whispered in my ear one night at a cocktail party, "You need to call my daughter. You 2 are going to be great friends." And because I'm obedient, I did. But I was delighted to find that she is the best of the best, and I've had some of the best times, the most hilarious times with her. So thank you both for the joy of bringing me to here and to today. So I'm going to walk through a little bit of my own personal history, as I mentioned, and I'm going to start with Las Vegas. So if you are joining from outside this room, you will hear my personal story, but sandwiched also in with a little bit of a history of Las Vegas. So for all of you, this is the Hotel Flamingo under construction, I know, 1946. To the right would be Caesar's Palace. Down the street across angularly is the Bellagio, and then across from there would be Bally's. 1946. My family and I moved to town in 1955 when there were only 25,000 people in this entire valley. Now, what's really amazing to me is that at 2.5 million people, I have watched this city double 100 times in my lifetime, and it is a videotape of my mind. I can actually see it happening. As you can see, in 1952, the Sahara opened, the Sands in 52, the Dunes in 1955, the Riviera in 55, and in 1957, we have the Tropicana. But this was the shot heard round the world when the Stardust Hotel and Casino opened in 1958. Well, let me tell you, this picture went on every front page of every newspaper across this country. And not because they thought it was a great picture, but because it was criticized and it was held up as just a horrible thing that this type of PR hit because of this huge phallic symbol that they found all these girls on. But let me tell you, this started something because 1 month later, the tourism of Las Vegas took off and doubled, and you see where it is today. So, and this was one of the other things that brought people to town during the 50s up to 1960 was the above ground testing. In fact, the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce would actually list dates and times in the Los Angeles paper, Phoenix paper, Salt Lake paper, so that people could come to town and stay on Fremont Street. This is the old El Rancho. You can see the mushroom cloud there. But people would come to town to see the above ground testing. And I, for one, being like, I guess 6 years old, maybe 4 years old, 5 years old, I remember climbing up on the roof of my home with my grandmother to watch the mushroom cloud back in the day. There, by the grace of God, go I. You know, that fallout went somewhere else than coming to Las Vegas. But most of us from back in that day have thyroid issues. It's just a thing. We all live with it. No big deal. I started out, I graduated high school, Valley High School, Arizona State University. I majored in broadcasting. I was fortunate as a student to actually come back to Las Vegas and get a job in broadcasting. In my own hometown, I did a talk show on Channel 13 in Las Vegas. One of the notables, if you go back that far, is the Unknown Comic. Anybody remember the Unknown Comic? Willie Mays, my husband, loved this interview. And then I went on to do the weather. This is before they had green screens. These were regular screens that you pulled in magnets with the, you know, the cold front was a magnet, the temperature was a magnet. And then I got married and got pregnant and had a baby. And I thought, I didn't realize that I would love a baby more than I'd ever loved one of my dogs. I just wasn't very maternal up until that point, to be honest. But there is no way I didn't have the help I needed to put my kids, or my firstborn anyway, who is now a judge, have to say that, I had nowhere to keep her, right? And I was working. I had spent my whole life having a career, and now I was a mom, and I didn't know what to do. So I walked in and I said to the news director, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice today. And he said to me these two things that I think are really relevant for this group right now, which is, are you crazy? You have the highest name recognition of anybody in this city that is in broadcasting. And do you know how many other girls are standing in line to take this job? And I thought, well, maybe, maybe not. I don't know, and I don't care. I have to go home and take care of my baby. And then he said this I believed, and this resonated with me. Let me tell you something, young lady. When you come back, or when you want to come back, you're going to be too old to get back into broadcasting. And I thought, well, okay. And trust me, I believed every word of that, and I absorbed every word of that. And that comes up later in this story. When my kids went to college, I knew I was too old to get back into broadcasting, right? And so what I did is I began a mobile billboard company. So this came about because my husband saw a mobile billboard truck, and he hired that guy for 120 days, 3 months of the campaign, to have Oscar Goodman all over town on this mobile billboard. He came home and told me about it, and this is what I said, because I am so much smarter than him. I said, what? That is the worst thing I've ever heard. Those things are ugly. I hate them whenever I'm behind them, and Oscar's going to be so mad how you spent his money. Well, I watched how this thing performed and the attention that it got during that campaign. And 3 months later, I bought that truck. I saw it, because he was right. I saw it as a media product. There were 10 men that owned that truck before I took it, and they saw it as a truck and they knew they had something, but I saw it as a media product. And what I did is I sold time the way you do on TV or radio. I sold 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon for local retailers and car dealers. I sold 2 in the afternoon until 8 o'clock at night for show tickets, and then nightclubs, and Saks Fifth Avenue was one of our first clients. And this got so much attention that I actually was featured in Time magazine. In 2013, I sold the company. And believe it or not, I didn't know what to do with myself, so I started cooking. Now, cooking was never something I could do, nothing that I was ever good at, but for some reason, it stuck. I think it was having a grandchild that helped me get to it, Karen. And believe it or not, at age 66 years old, I was back on TV. So that'll show that news director, right? And I remain there still. I was every other week cooking on Las Vegas Now, and now I'm every other month. And believe it or not, in 2021, my husband and I both received the Lifetime Achievement Award in broadcasting. And then the thing that I am the most proud of, though, right now is that I became a published author along with my co-author, Dr. Jean Bokelman, last month. And thank you. When we brought to the market the Long Life Era Longevity Cookbook Preview Collection, which is just 24 recipes of the 144 that will be out in the spring of 2026. And that is really what I'm doing now. But that takes us to that, but I'm going to tell you this. Back in October of 2022, I experienced a dark night of the soul. And that dark night of the soul lasted for 6 months. And here's what happened. I had spent time at my 50th class reunion. It was a beautiful night, about 150 people out on a patio at Spanish Trail. These guys, I call them guys and kids, you know, they were 69 years old, but they're kids to me still, were like none other. They were taking selfies. They were airdropping pictures to each other. A couple people made playlists and connected to the Bluetooth of the speakers and was, hooking up the music. They were very fit. They were running around. Some people were dancing, even though it was quite funny, but they were doing it. And it was a beautiful night. I returned home on a high. I was not high. I was on a high. Just for our people that are visiting from outside the city. And I couldn't go to bed. I was too hyped up. It was so beautiful. I sat down to watch TV. Have no idea today what I was watching. But what came on was an open enrollment commercial for Medicare. And that commercial came up with 150 people on a patio. And I looked at that. Now listen, I was about to turn 70 in 3 months. I had never thought those Medicare commercials applied to me, even though I'd been on Medicare for obviously nearly 5 years, right? I believed I was going to live to 120. So 60 plus 60 is 120. I still believed I was in midlife, and I knew that commercial was not talking to me. But it hit me that night that it was. And what happened is I actually looked at the people in that commercial, and what I saw is people dressed in costumes for a commercial that looked like the outfits my grandmother wore, born in 1914, okay? The hairstyles, I was like, what is going on here? These people are supposed to be 5 years younger than the people I just left. Anyway, the worst part is the camera angle. Julie, since you're into this, was looking down on them. The announcer was talking to them in a nice sing-song. Do you know 1-800 is a toll-free number? I was like, you've got to be kidding. Who grew up in the age of Vegematic that doesn't know that 1-800 is a toll-free number, right? Anyway, worse than that, they were given scripts to read back to the camera that made them sound like, who's 45 in this room? Okay. It made them sound like 20 years from now, you will be that age. Oh, you're not 45. Okay. Anyway, that they had lost 20 points of their IQ in the last 20 years. Well, I turned it off and went to bed. What I didn't realize is that I attached to that. I didn't even know it, but subconsciously I attached to that moment. I attached to that commercial. On Monday morning, I walked in to a meeting that I've chaired for the last 10 years, and I couldn't stay. I said to myself, what are you doing here? You're irrelevant. You're too old. They're waiting for you to move off to the side, get in a box, be objectified and stereotyped, turn your body over to managed healthcare and your wallet over to Wall Street pharmaceuticals. I tried to breathe through it. It felt like I was about to speak in front of a group like today, but I couldn't get through it. And I walked out of the room and just said I wasn't feeling well, which obviously I wasn't. And my co-chair took over. Throughout the next 6 months, I really struggled. To come back from that. And it took me a bit. I started blogging about it, and the Long Life Era brand, which is the brand that I represent, came back and came out of that. And now I find myself in the longevity and the ageism space. And this statement may not mean something to you right now, but it will, hopefully, at the end of this, and that is longevity and ageism cannot coexist in the same culture. And if it doesn't resonate with you now, maybe it will in a moment at the end of this. So let me hear from you. So who is the oldest in this room? I should probably start with the youngest, but let me start with the youngest. Who is the youngest in this room? Who's young? Debbie is. Debbie's 42. Yeah. 42? 42? Okay, so 42 is our floor. And so who's the oldest? You are? How old? 80.
She's ahead of me.
Okay. Joanne, where do you fall in that? All right. Okay. Good job. All right. All right. There's the winner. Okay. So, who worked out this morning? Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Who worked out yesterday morning? Because sometimes it's every other. There you go. Okay. Look at that. Who takes creatine? Okay. There you go. Me too. Although I ran out, and after this, I'm reordering. And anybody follow anybody interesting? I mentioned Andrew Huberman a minute ago. Anybody? Anybody who?
Was he bowling?
Longevity, is that a longevity? Okay. Oh, Peter Attia is amazing. Yes. Okay. All right. Now let's talk about AI. Since we're talking about us as generational, we've got several generations here. We're going to find out where everybody falls in just a minute. But let's talk about AI. So I'm going to help you with this one. I'm going to steal some thunder from Fafi and Tanya, but I did this presentation for a real estate company recently, and they tell me that the way that they use AI is they write their listings. It's so much easier to write a listing. Do you find that to be true? And that's how they utilize it. Now, here's the thing. You need to just yell forward how you use it. But you know what I've discovered? Admitting that you use AI is like admitting to your parents that you had sex in high school. It just it's okay. It's okay that you use AI. And I've used AI for this presentation. And I'm never really that funny. I don't know where that came from. But anyway, so how do you use AI? Anybody? Go ahead. There you go. Look at you, 83, using AI. And you're not afraid to admit it. Do you have sex in high school? No. What else? Who else?
Lots of ways, but brainstorming, copy editing, and scaffolding arguments.
Awesome. One more. Go ahead.
Mine is so important. My packing list for traveling.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Your daughter taught me that one. That's great. So let's. Oh, go ahead. What?
Yeah, I have to create an itemized list by a day with pictures of the items.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You have to teach me that when I go to Singapore. Okay.
I've got to tell.
So currently, there are 8 generations on the planet. They are 1901 to 1927 greatest generation, which is known for giving us the freedom that we so love today and making great sacrifices. Next, 1928 to 1945 is the silent generation. Who's here from the silent generation? Is that you? Yeah?
Three.
Nope. Fafi and Joanne are baby boomer generations.
Baby.
Yeah. The silent generation were traditionalists. They believed in General Electric, banks, savings and loan, etc. The baby boomer generation, the largest generation ever born on the planet, 76 million at its peak, still about 73 million in control of culture, in control of economics, and in control of the voting bloc politics. Here's what happened one day. They are known as the revolutionaries, the change makers, the social change makers. And what happened in late May of 1946, 9 months after the end of World War II, a Midtown Manhattan labor and delivery room was overrun with mothers in labor. And as it turned 2 a.m. across this country, the same thing happened. But it didn't just end that night. It continued for the next, 14 years, 1946 to 1964. Generation X are the first latchkey kids, the millennials. Who's a millennial here? You're a millennial? You're a millennial?
Millennial, but X is 78 to 85 is the Oregon Trail era.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So you are the most adaptable to technology because who, even from your generation, did not have an AOL.com email address at the beginning? Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. Gen Z, there's a lot to be said about Gen Z, but what will really surprise you is they're more entrepreneurial than any other generation ever born. They are the digital natives. Gen Z are the digital natives. Gen Alpha, it's my grandchild's, both of my grandchildren. They are part in digital and social media, and then Generation Beta right now is being born at the hospitals around this city and all over this country. After Generation Beta, we will have Generation Gamma. So at some point, with 5 generations in the workplace and with all of us working out every morning and taking our creatine, we are going to continue to have 5 generations in the workplace. Now, each generation is born to their own knowledge. As an example, Gen Zs were born knowing about smartphones. And the Gen Alphas actually have taught me, my granddaughter, how to first swipe up when smartphones started swiping up. Every generation is born to the knowledge of the times that they are born in. And then when you add experience, you start having a lived life. You start meshing your own experience to the knowledge of the generation you were born in, and then you end up with wisdom. Now, look, we all have transitions in life, and this explains how the transitions actually take place. But I like to frame it this way. Sometimes really bad endings are nothing more than disguises for wonderful new beginnings. I like that better, don't you? And furthermore, anybody that's been through a divorce or a job loss or anything else, you always know something better has come down the road. And so those new beginnings are a wonderful way to look at that. Now, we're going to talk about the eras of our life. So let me pop that up for you. The first 18 years is childhood. The second 18 years, young adulthood. Third is age 37 to 50, which is midlife. And the fourth era of your life, the longest era of your life, age 50 and beyond, because there's just no end to what that can be. Here's the deal. Why does it start at 50? I mean, anybody that's 50 will answer this question right now. What came in the mail the week of your 50th birthday? All right, did you hear that? AARP shows up in the mail. You don't even know how they had your address. I didn't want to touch it. I carried it like this and dropped it into the garbage can. I was so afraid of it. Needless to say, here's the thing you need to know is that midlife is the shortest era of your life. Age 37 to age 50. 13 years. Short. But because of the ageism that we experience through things like open enrollment and Medicare commercials, we hang on to that midlife like I did, 60 plus 60. I still thought I was in midlife. God only knows, right? But who wants to be objectified and stereotyped? Really and truly, ageism is the greatest blind spot of American society. It really exists, and we step over it as though it doesn't. And that's why we grab on to this midlife over and over again. Yet, if we knew that at 50, it could be a whole new world for us, we might live it a little bit differently. So this is the U-curve of happiness. This has been proved out by several scientists that do the research across the world. The original scientist was in Brussels, I believe. This U-curve of happiness shows that we start down. This is for you, Lorelei. We had a conversation at the last cocktail party. This U-curve starts downward when we enter adolescence, and God only knows why, right? What a miserable time of life that was for everybody in the household. And you can see that right down here, it bottoms out. What is miraculous to me about where this bottoms out is that it is right at the very stage of where midlife exists. Age 37 to 52, depending on your biological clock. And then little by little, you start upward. Now, you can call this the midlife crisis, and basically it is. And on top of this, because this is the first non-mixed crowd I've given this presentation to, in here also is menopause. Oh my God, right? And so little by little, let me just not call it a crisis, but how about a chrysalis? So Arthur C. Brooks in his book, Strength to Strength, says is that when we hit about right here, when we start the way up, it is because of the midlife chrysalis. That's what he calls it, from our striving brain to our chrysalis brain. And just briefly, let me say to you that it's the first time in our lives that maybe we look and say, wow, I became a doctor. I hate it. I did it for my parents. My parents told me that's what I wanted to do, so that's what I did. I really want to be in a rock band. Now, maybe you don't give up being a doctor, but maybe you start having a different thing that you do on the weekends, and you start living for being happy, maybe for the very first time in your life. This is where divorces happen. This is where job changes happen. This is where all these things happen. Imagine being the caterpillar who doesn't even have a mother caterpillar to turn to. And all of a sudden it starts freezing. It starts getting unable to breathe. Something hard is forming around it, and there's nobody to help coach it through that moment in life. You must feel like it's going to die, and on some level, it probably does in there. And there's no butterfly that's talking to that caterpillar that says, when this is over, you are going to fly maybe for the first time in your life. But then it cracks and emerges a monarch butterfly, and it sees the world from on high in such a different way. And basically that is what happens right here. And we go on, and the older we get, the happier we become. Now, it's a mindset, and so we want to talk about mindset. What is mindset? It's a belief and mental attitude that you have, and it's how you interpret everything that happens to you in your life. That's what it is. There's 3 areas of your health. There's your physical health, your cognitive health, and your emotional health. Your emotional health is the most complicated. These things are just a small part of your emotional health. Joy, hope, contentment, love, fear, anxiety, anger, resentment. Did I have that one up there? Nope. And then finally, mindset. So, what is mindset? I just told you what that is. You got it? Okay. So, who has heard of Roger Bannister? Okay. You tell me, who is Roger Bannister?
Brother.
Big runner.
The 4-minute.
Yes. He is the first man in history to run the mile, the mile in less than 4 minutes, the sub 4 minute mile. Now, May 6, 1954, Roger Bannister broke that record. It was believed in human history. It had never been done. They started doing timekeeping actually in the 1500s, but they didn't have good timepieces, I'm told, by history, by AI. AI told me that. And so the real timepieces that were authentic to the sport were made in the early 1800s. In the early 1800s to 1954, it was believed that it was impossible to do. But Roger Bannister had a mindset that it could be done. He had been getting close and close throughout his career as a runner. And he believed he could do it. He wanted to do it. He practiced. And on May 6, 1954, he did it. And what happened? He changed the mindset around the sport of running globally, instantaneously, in almost less than 24 hours. And because he changed the mindset of everyone around him, what do you think happened?
Getting somebody else break it.
6 weeks later, the second man broke it. Imagine, it had never been done in human histories. He does it 6 weeks later. And 3 months later, what happened? Say it. That's it. Exactly. And our old buddy Henry Ford, I love this. Those who believe they can do something and those who believe they can't are both right. Now, this is Tanya's favorite part, I think.
Yeah, fuck it.
Who's bought life insurance? Okay, good. This is the life insurance agent. He comes to your house. What's the first question he asks you? Your age. No, don't say it, Tanya. He unpacks his briefcase and he jokingly says while you're getting him a cup of coffee, "So, Mrs. Diamond, how long do you see yourself living to?" And you laugh and you deliver a number. Scary thing about that, insurance agents, this one over here, Dulcinea, they're the best actuaries on the planet. And you know what they know? They know that everyone who delivers a number, 85% of people that deliver that number die at that number. Which is great for Selena's business. But she'd rather have you wait, right? That's it. She'd rather have you wait. And so I would say, I've done this so many times, and every single time you all take your eyes off of me, because what just happened is you heard your number in your head. And for some of you, it felt good, and for some of you, it did not. And so I would just say to you, examine that after today, because that number can change. It's there maybe because somebody, when you were 6 years old, said, "I never want to live to this age because there's too much suffering at that age." And that might have been true then, and that might have been true for that person, but it does not mean that it's true for you. So let's move on. I'm going to skip this because of time. So this is AI. This is where AI helped me. These are some of the things that if you're looking at hiring a baby boomer or a baby boomer is working in the workplace, these things are part of their attributes. And it's interesting now because in just the last 15 years, 40% of the baby boomers are being managed by people who are younger than them.
Cool.
This is Gen Z in the workplace. They're entrepreneurial, they're creative, they're the most entrepreneurial. These are great things. This, however, is where the generational disconnect happens. This is Mr. Cranky Pants. This is Miss Tatted Up and pierced through the nose. They're both bankers. You can imagine, he's now retired, but when he walks in the bank and she's his teller, you can only imagine what he's thinking. If I walked out of the house like that, my father would have beat me to death. I can't believe she can work here. If when I ask her a question, I get that Gen Z stare. And she's thinking, oh, here comes Mr. Cranky Pants, who will try to quiz me about everything I know about banking. And they're both right. But what we want to do, well, here's one other thing. Here are some of the things that people who are older than Gen Zs think, which is probably on TikTok 4 hours a day, never used a checkbook. That might be true. They think email is for old people. And of the baby boomers, Gen Zers think they probably still have AOL.com. Okay, that might be true. They prefer phone calls over texting sometimes. And they think hashtags are pound signs. So I still call them that. But here's the interesting thing, is that if we can communicate in the workplace, not by generation, not by a silent prejudice about the age, either young or old, but key into the psychographics, we come together as a group and we can solve problems that much better. Let me tell you this ancient Greek parable. I've got 4 minutes to get it done too. The parable goes like this. In a Greek island, it was a custom that when the oldest son was old enough to take care of the family, he would march his father up to the top and throw him off a cliff to his death. But this one young Greek could not throw his father to his death. And so he hid him in a cave and he brought him provisions every week. And every week he would also bring his problems. And his father solved them for him because of his wisdom. Because of his wisdom. And he became the richest man on that island in a matter of a year. And finally, everybody threw up their hands and said, how is this happening? Why is this happening to you? How did you do this? And he finally had to confess that it was not just his knowledge and not just his experience, but the sharing of his father's wisdom that helped him do this. And he changed the mindset and the culture of that. So I would say these are our founders. These are the women that came before us. These are the women that paved this road for us here locally at our IWF. This is a small example of those with the wisdom to help us. I want to say that ageism is society's greatest blind spot. It's the quiet prejudice that silences the wisdom and the voices of our elders. But the opposite of ageism is reverence, a beautiful word. Reverence gives us the grace to see time not as a thief, but as an artist of all of our lives. To honor age is to honor the soul of life itself. And therefore, we honor our own souls. You know, Gen Z's greatest fear in life is growing older. And why? Because they feel there are not role models that are embracing age. In Japan, China, the Philippines, such beautiful people, the tribes of Africa, Cuba, South America, Mexico, Europe, their elders are honored and revered. Something's off here. This is my passion, but you are my purpose. And I know that together we can change culture, one mind, one heart, one soul at a time. And that is why I do this presentation. I want to also honor our founders that are still active in today. Joanne, raise up. Yes. Joanne's wisdom is every time I ask a question and nobody knows the answer, I get back, I'm going to call Joanne. She'll know. And she usually does. I also wanted to note that Carolyn is not active, but she is the very first president of the organization and founded it. And I don't know, maybe Joanne does, but I don't know if our blind spot could be why she's not active. And I would challenge us to say, maybe we could do something to help change that for her. Don't know for sure, but Joanne does, so we'll talk about it later. Behind every label is a life with dreams, sacrifices, and challenges that we don't see at first glance. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that not only do we have a city councilwoman and 2 mayors that are part of this organization, but I'm asking you out in Zoom land, do you have a 99-year-old that's part of yours? We do. Claire Rothman, 99 years old, is an active part of this. Is she not 99, Julie?
She's 98.
98. She was born in 1927. So I can talk, but I can't do math. Okay. So I asked AI, what is better about AI than the real human wisdom that we have? And AI outed itself. AI actually confessed. This is what it said. The balance between technology and timeless human wisdom is misunderstood. While artificial intelligence can rapidly scan cyberspace and deliver facts, it lacks lived experience, empathy, and intuition, the very qualities that shape real leadership. The generation between 50 and 100 years or more carries with it decades of insight, compassion, and a depth of perspective that no algorithm can replicate. These seasoned professionals have walked through challenges, made tough decisions, and built the resilience that only life can teach, not cyberspace. Their presence reminds us that knowledge isn't just about information, it's about wisdom. It's about guidance and the human touch that gives meaning to facts. And now, hopefully, this makes good sense to you. I hope you'll share this information with those you love, because to live is to honor and be a part of life itself. Thank you all so very much.
So it's okay.
Do you have questions?
Yeah. Anybody have questions? We have time.
Okay.
Sure thing. Anybody want to ask something to make me feel better? I got them. All things.
Yes.
Tell us about your cookbook. Oh, the cookbook. So it's the Long Life Era Longevity Cookbook. It is, what is unique about it is that every single ingredient in the cookbook, and in the preview collection, Tanya is one of Tanya's recipes with it. But every single ingredient in every recipe is isolated by what good it does for your body. So if a recipe has kale in it, or any other ingredient, ginger or anything, it is isolated, whether it's good for your brain, good for your gut, good for your liver, good for your skin. And to our knowledge, it's the first cookbook of its kind that did that. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I did think they were still here. So that's the cookbook. And we sold out of the preview collection. Oh my God, did I already say that? We did. We sold out of the preview collection. I'm so excited to be able to actually say that, because, you bring something to the market and you think, you're all excited about it. Then the last minute you say, is anybody going to actually buy this? But we did. But the full 144-page collection, which has been enormous, and we learned a lot about the 72-page book. So we're making some changes, updating and making it better. It'll be out in the spring of 26. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Sure. Yes.
What about creatine?
What about what?
Creatine.
Oh, creatine. Well, I'm not an expert on creatine, and it's not in the cookbook. It's just that I listened to Andrew Huberman and Peter Attia talk about it, and I take it. Tanya takes it, and everybody that lifts weight actually takes it. It's supposed to actually help those that lose creatine over time to help build back your muscle. And I'm a weightlifter, not a big one, but I'm a weightlifter, so I take creatine for that because I wanted to show up.
He likes on the grade too.
Yes, my husband thinks he's like 20 now. I think better than I ever thought when I was in my 20s. So who knows? I mean, he had really bad ADD, so probably, time, wisdom, and creatine has helped him.
In your experience, research for somebody who is struggling with the mindset necessary for longevity, full disclosure, this is not me, but somebody I'm caring about deeply. What advice would you give in terms of how to start to open up the possibilities again if lifespan is realistically compressed?
I mean, are they not well? They're not well. I mean,
Physically, there's an ailment. And so that is impacting mindset.
Right.
What is possible, even though in the short term, what is still possible?
I honestly don't know. I'm no one to give advice on that, but I would say bring him to see me next time I speak, because the thing is that in a room where they don't feel that you're talking directly to them and they suddenly hear their mindset, their number, that can be really staggering. And if you know that it's just something you're thinking and not something that's true on any level, then maybe you will change it. I did have a woman 2 times I spoke ago who came to me and said she was crying afterwards, and she came up to me and I was like, oh my goodness, somebody saved me. But she was wonderful. And what she said to me crying is, she said, I have had the number 62 in my mind my whole life. And she said, my husband came to see you a time or 2 ago. And she said, he tried to help me understand that this was just a number I had thought of, but I did not believe that I was going to live past 62. And now I'm 62 and I don't want to die. I want to live. And thank you. You helped change my life. So that was really fulfilling for me. Very fulfilling. So anybody else? Oh, yes.
I just want to add to what you said. When I first started working here, we did an exercise, and Dulcinea and I sat together. We do a predictive index, basically like your personality in the workplace. And we had to write a number, and Dulcinea picked like something that represented you, and she put like 120. I'll never forget this. And she's like, because that's how long I'm going to live. And going back to what you said, full disclosure, when I was 35, 7 years ago, I first got breast cancer, stage 3. It came back again 2.5 years later. I'm a 2-time survivor, almost 4 years remission. Thank you. But I always thought I'd live forever because I'm peppy, if I could use an adjective. I'm like optimistic. I'm like, I eat healthy. I work out. I do all the things. And then you get slammed your face into a wall when you get breast cancer. But I think for me, what changed that mindset is, number one, surrounding yourself with amazing humans. Dulcinea is one of them. After meeting you today, I'm so inspired. I have chills. I think it's take one day at a time, do what you can do today. Because when I was going through chemo and I was sick as a dog, all I wanted to do is be a mom for my kids as long as I could. And I'm like, well, what milestone should I try to get to? Should it be, if you've ever seen, why can't I think of that movie with, anyway, I'll think of it. Should it be like my daughter's graduation? What?
With you in the movie?
No, oh my gosh, Dancing with the Stars. And I'll think of it. Anyway, she writes letters because she's dying. And so like to my son on his graduation day, to my daughter on her wedding day, why can't I think? It's my favorite movie. I can't think of it. Anyway, so I'm like, what milestone should I get to that will make me feel like I've done enough? And the correct answer is none. Keep living, because there's never a time when we want to be like, okay, now I'm good to miss all that. So just do what you can do today. Do something positive today, and surround yourself with people that lift you up, because that is your mental health will drive you. And who knows what tomorrow will bring, but I'll live as long as I can and as good as I can while I can. I'm going to look it up right now.
Anybody else? Are we close to?
Done.
Okay, well, thank you all very much for joining us from far and away. We hope you stood in there, stuck with it, and enjoyed all of us. There are remarkable women in this room this afternoon. I'm so honored and grateful to know each and every one of you. And little by little in the last 18 months, I'm learning faces and names of all of you. And thank you to Fafi and Tanya for bringing me to this moment. Thank you all very, very much for joining us.